Hardee's and Hardos. Oh my gosh, it's been 3 weeks, man. Spinny, how you doing, bro? I haven't seen your face in forever.
We're loving life here, Bus. But yeah, 3 weeks. It's kind of the dead area of the sports, dead time of
Yeah,
the sports year. So we figured if it was time
it
to take a
was
break, now was it.
it was a good time off. I will admit that. Spinny, though, I know your season's heating up. So in this opening, why don't we have a little Spinny's volleyball corner, huh? What is this, year 3 or 4 college coaching for you?
Year three, college coaching for me. Year two here at UWRF. We're gonna be looking good. Young, 14 underclassmen, only three upperclassmen. So
Wow.
that'll be a challenge, obviously, for us. But I think we're up to it. Three freshmen that started basically all of last year will be in our rotation, and then looking for others to step up and make it.
Well, there you go. They're
Seven.
they're
Go ahead.
technically underclassmen, right? But like if they're starting, they have that much experience. That's really good to get back to your team for this season.
Exactly. Um, we also have a former Division two transfer that could be impactful for us, as well as a good freshman class. So I'm going to take definitely some step ups from some young people figuring it out. But a lot of talent on this team. I think it'll just be, can we be disciplined enough as the season develops to play well. 17 of our 32, right? Oh man, math is tough, but I think 32. Last year we went 21 and 10. 31 or 32 matches, 17 of them were ranked in the top 40 to end last season. So a very tough schedule for us. We go out to California to open the season, play a couple of
Hell
teams
yeah.
that were in the
Uh,
tournament. CMS was in the Elite Eight last year. We will play them. So huge challenge. Our normal YX schedule. We're also playing Gustavus and Northwestern and other ranked teams from last season as well. So I believe going off last season's rankings, we have eight ranked top 25 ranked matchups from last year. So
Wow.
really put ourselves in the heat of it in a tough schedule.
Yeah.
But with the new way that the
Hey, but that's
tournament
what's
is
fun.
being,
That's what's fun.
yeah, and the new way the tournament is being, um, the selection is being done. It's based a lot more on strength of schedule and not as much on regional rankings this year. So
As it should
that'll
be.
be very nice for us. I think it'll have a chance for three or four WIAC teams to make it in, given the depth of our conference. So I think we have a good shot to make the tournament, but I also think it's going to come down to if we can be consistently disciplined as the season goes on.
Okay. So that's your main trip to Cali. I was gonna ask you if you had any fun trips.
Yep.
You got any other
Yeah,
any
we
other
go to
big ones?
Cali, we go to Elmhurst, Illinois, and then
Okay.
Loris College, which is in Iowa, are
Iowa, yep.
three longer trips this year. So
Nice.
we
Loris has
also
a
play
good
for our
facility down there.
507 fam. We also play at Gustavus this year as
Well,
well.
there you
So
go.
little back home trip
I'm gonna have to go to
for
that.
me. Yeah, it'll be a fun one.
Maybe
Saturday game we'll play at 1 and 3. So
okay.
hopefully we can get some of the Hardies and Ardos out there.
We'll get it live streaming on the Hard Headed Insta page.
Yeah,
I'll go and
let's
I'll
go.
stream it. One more question for you.
Hmm.
What are you gonna take from your first 2 seasons of college coaching
Hmm.
and try to improve upon this season? What do you think you personally need to improve the most when it comes to
Ooh,
coaching volleyball? It's a
that's
tough
good.
question.
It is. I think for me, it's probably being more concise and to the point on in-game
Okay.
correction. I I am very gray, not very, but I am gray sometimes when it comes to correction. And I think volleyball is a sport that you can have multiple things wrong at once. And I like to talk through with players to get them really to understand what they're doing wrong. So we get a lot more self correction and a lot less of me having to do that. So I can focus more on strategical things for my position group,
Yeah.
which is pin hitters, so outsides and right sides. Um, but I think concise, clear communication consistently is probably an area that I need to work on for myself. So I think that's the biggest thing coming into this year. Being prepared, which I always am. My head coach is very big on preparation, so we're always very prepared and ready to go. I think just taking that preparation and not giving them too much all the time. As hard as
Yeah,
numbers
I
know,
feel that.
I'm kind of a numbers guy, and so
Yeah.
I'm in charge of a lot of the stat taking stuff, and sometimes that can bleed over into correction, and it doesn't always work for athletes. So sometimes it does, and some athletes really love it. But I guess just finding that balance for all my athletes, where knowing whether they need that concise, like just do this, or if it needs to be more wording and more statistical based. I think just finding that balance for me.
Well, there's so many overlaps from coaching and teaching, right? It's like it's the same idea as every student or every athlete learns in their own unique way. So that's
Yeah.
always the challenge of coaching is trying to reach every player. So that was a good point. I like that. Well, Spinny, why don't we hear from Jack and we'll get after it on episode 109.
Yes, sir.
Episode 109. I have nothing specific for 109. We're just going to call it the Team USA episode, Spinny.
Ooh,
Represent
love.
for the Olympics. But before we talk about the Olympics, let's talk some very quick headlines. First one being, happened today. Gordon Hayward announced his retirement on social media after 14 seasons in the NBA. I mean, here's another perfect example of a player that's career was derailed by injuries, right? He was never the same after he broke his ankle in Boston that first game of the season. He kind of found it again, bits and pieces in Charlotte. I think he got up to almost 20 a game in Charlotte one season, but he could never stay healthy. He only ended up playing about 40 some games every season the rest of his career. But I'm going to remember Gordon Hayward as a bucket getter, Spinny. That's what I'm going to remember him as. That dude could get buckets.
Obviously, the legendary Butler run.
Yeah.
The it really just was a shame, after the injury, the athleticism and the ability to stay healthy just wasn't quite the same for him, and it really
Yeah.
is a shame. That first iteration of the Boston team, really what that could have been with him and Kyrie and Brown and Tatum.
Yeah.
It,
For real.
it's crazy how we got from there to this team this year, and how
Yeah.
they just won the ship, without either of those guys, and just the whole development looking back is kind of really crazy and surprising to me. It obviously worked out, and we're grateful for that. But yeah, there was definitely some dark times there. Also, wanted to make this connection. Really, I think it is a credit to Paul George and his ability to rehab and come back from that injury. One that was similarly as bad as Gordon Hayward's in the way he has, and have the longevity that he has had. I think it's something that nowadays with LeBron and Curry and KD, we kind of take that for granted. Longevity piece, especially
Fact.
post injury. But the way Paul George has done that is pretty crazy. Given especially examples like Hayward and past examples, Bill
Yeah.
Walton and Greg Oden, and multiple examples of guys never being able to get over those injuries.
Spinny, this also tells me that me and you are old as hell because
I
we're getting to
know,
the point
bro.
where
Golly.
guys are retiring that we watched literally their entire career. Yeah, obviously we've watched like, Tim Duncan and stuff like that. Like there were guys before, but we were way too young for their first couple of years in the league to even know what's going
Yeah,
on. Gordon Hayward, we watched all 14 years of his
every
career.
year.
Like that's how I know we're getting old as hell, man.
I know, it's crazy, guys. Like, I remember Kevin Durant's rookie year. I
Yeah, it's
remember
like
like James Harden's rookie year, and these guys in OKC, and now that's gonna be the end of an era. I remember
right.
getting so pissed off when we decided to take Rubio and Johnny Flynn back to back over Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I remember that draft night. and then you've watched every second of that man's career. So it is crazy. Shows we're getting old, but it definitely gives you a new perspective on sports.
Even like Paul George's draft, I believe he's the only one left, and that wasn't even that long ago. That was 2010. Yeah, Gordon
Wild.
was in that draft. So like Gordon's gone, Eric Bledsoe's gone, DeMarcus Cousins is gone, John Wall's gone. Like it's ridiculous. Other NBA news though, Spinny, they accepted Amazon's offer over TNT. TNT ended up matching it or putting an offer out there similar to Amazon's, but they went with Amazon instead. It's over. Our show is over, Spinny. Are these guys going to get picked up? I know we've had this conversation way too many times in this pod. Are they actually going to get picked up? Because I'm having growing skepticisms as the days go on here.
Well, Barkley's done. We get one last ride, by the way. So this last year is going to be a lit
this
ass
season
ride.
is the last ride.
Yeah.
Good point.
So we'll get one last ride. Barkley's retiring. EJ's never leaving Turner. He's been there before even this whole thing started. I think there is a chance that Shaq and Kenny do end up on different shows at different times. I mean, they're both so damn hilarious and entertaining. I just don't see how, if those guys want to continue, they're not going to be picked up by somebody.
Especially Shaq.
Yeah. Kind of a dick move at the NBA, in my opinion, here. But I think, from what I understand, a lot of it comes down to the fact that the next TV deal after this one is going to be so much money that they don't think networks like Turner will be able to afford it. And they don't want to piss off Amazon right now because they know Amazon's going to be able to afford it in the future.
Yeah.
So I think that's some of it from the NBA perspective, is that they know how much this is probably going to grow looking at the numbers right now, and they don't want to, and therefore the amount of buyers able to do it is getting so small, and I don't think they want to offend one of the biggest buyers in that market, which is Amazon.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think about it in that.
But it's not about good content. Because Amazon's not going to be, at least in the first couple of years, nearly the level of content that TNT has brought us. And that is sad when we're at the point where we're worrying about future money deals as opposed to producing the best pregame and postgame content.
Yeah, that's facts. Because, it's 2024. A lot of people have a Prime account, but there's still how many people in this country that don't have Amazon and are not going to be getting Amazon? So, like, I always worry about that aspect with the streaming companies coming into play with sports. It's like some people don't care. They don't want to add more monthly expenses that they already have. Like, they're already paying how much every month. They don't want to pay another subscription. So, like, that's what my biggest worry when it comes to these streamings. We'll to NFL, 2 contracts. Spinning the summer of unproven stars getting paid has continued. It's gone over into the NFL. Tua, 4 years, $212 million with $167 guaranteed. Jordan Love, 4 for $220 with $160 guaranteed. A $75 million signing bonus. These are ludicrous deals in my eyes, Spinny. What do you think?
I want to know what is riskier between these two deals, in your opinion.
I would say Tua, given the health concern.
Okay.
I still believe this man is like one concussion away from having to retire. Like, I still think that's in play here. He's had how many concussions in his life? So.
I'm the same. But we also know when you get to a protection, he can be a top-level quarterback. Now, we saw that for 8 games with Jordan Love. I will give you that. But we haven't seen it longer than like 8 to 10 games. So I'm a little concerned about that, like, up and down ability from him. Now, I do think Jordan Love's going to be good. I do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, not to mention the weapons, too. Like, that obviously helps. Tua has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And, some of these young bucks on the Packers are good. They're good receivers. But they're all, like, first, second, third-year receivers, and they haven't really established a name yet, too. Like you said, that could factor in with Jordan Love only being really good for 8 to 10 games. Like, that sophomore season, it's year 4 or 5 for him, but this is sophomore season coming up as a starter. That's when we see people really struggle. And so I think maybe the lack of weapons might end up hurting Jordan Love too, even.
Yeah, that is a good point. I do like, though, that they're all going to grow up together, in the organization, so to speak. And one of them's going to be really good. Like, I just don't
Yeah.
see how between they have 75 different dudes, honestly,
Christian
7 different
Watson, Jaden
dudes.
Reed, Romeo
Yeah.
Dobbs, like they have a lot of guys.
Like,
Yeah.
not to mention, Tucker Kraft and the tight ends
Yeah.
and everything they've got there. It's like probably one of those guys at least is going to be really, really good, and one of those guys is going to be pretty darn good. And
Probably.
if that is how it ends up, then Love's probably looking pretty good. Plus, let's be honest, like the Packers are a good organization. As much as I
Yeah.
hate their living guts, they do draft well traditionally, and so it just is likely that at least one of these guys is going to really turn out and be a big weapon for Jordan.
Well, that's also why I think Tua's riskier too, is because I kind of just trust the Packers. Yeah, we've only
Yeah.
seen him be good as a starter for like half a season, but they also drafted him in the first round when they had MVP Aaron Rodgers on their team. Like they've seen this in Jordan Love from day one. So like
Yeah.
for them to have this faith and continue to renew this faith every season, and now we're doing it even more by giving him the absolute bag. Like they trust him with the franchise. So that is something to think about too. Um, is this going to be the trend? Like, obviously, the cap's going to continue to rise. How many years do you think it is before we see like these guys are going to be closer to like the 10th highest paid QB? Because it blows my mind to think that Jordan Love's the highest paid QB. Like that concept just trips me out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be, too long. I understand it's risky, and it definitely is paying them early. But it also can really pay off for you in the end when your guy hits. Like, if
Yep.
your guy doesn't hit, you're in the Daniel Jones situation and you look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
But the Giants are used to that. But if you're in a situation with a similar contract where the guy hits like Jordan Love, then man, in 2 or 3 years, if this man's the eighth to 10th highest paid quarterback in the league and the top five playing quarterback, then you're looking fantastic because you can still get players around him while getting the top production that you want. So it is high risk, high reward. But again, going back to organizations like the Packers, especially the Packers are taking a risk this high, they really, really, really believe in Love.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Well, I think that's enough for the headlines. Let's jump to the Olympics now. Medal count. We are currently leading. We have 37 total medals. France, the home country, has 27. China is in third with 24. China, though, however, does lead the way with gold medals with 11. Team USA is sitting there at 9. Some other random tidbits from this games. Apan Zali is his name, from China. Set the world record in the 100-meter freestyle. That is the first world record of these games. Women's rugby, Team USA gets bronze. That's the first medal for women's rugby in Team USA history, and the first medal for Team USA men or women's rugby since 1924, 100 freaking years. So shout out to the women's rugby team. And Team USA men's rowing, the 4-man team, they just won gold this morning. That's the first since 1960. So shout out to our Olympians, man. We're coming back in some sports that we're not really known for. So shout out to them for that. But Spinny, we got so much to talk about. What route do you want to go first?
Let's go volleyball first. We're just gonna talk quick about men's and women's. Women's team, a 3-2 loss to China to start, and then a 3-2 win over Serbia to finish. They also lost their setter in the Chinese match. Lauren Carlini, former Wisconsin Badger setter, injured and replaced in the tournament. She only played the first 2 sets, and then Micah Hancock, who was the alternate, stepped up and was the setter against Serbia. Shout out a couple of hitters. Avery Skinner, 15 kills on 30 attempts against China, hit 500 as an outside is pretty insane. And Drews against Serbia, 15 kills on 37 attempts. So absolute cool, great performances from a couple of outsides there. 1-1. The fifth set against Serbia, USA wins 17-15. Fifth set against China, USA loses 13-15. So 5 very, very close, two very, very close fifth sets for the women's team. And yeah, so they need a win here in this third match to really get to the spot that they want to be in pool play. Men's indoor have played Argentina, who they beat 3-0 very handedly, and then 3-2.
Let me ask you something quick.
Go ahead.
Going into the Olympics,
Yep.
was Team USA favored for women's?
No, women's and men's both. I think women's was ranked 5th and men's was ranked 6th in the world.
So
both were
so like the women losing to China wasn't like that big of a surprise, right?
No,
Not
definitely
necessarily.
not.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay, so back to the men. Men then 3-0 win over Argentina and then a 3-2 win versus Germany. This is kind of the last hurrah for the men, that the big five that have really been the carrying men's team for the last 3 Olympics. They're all basically 6 of them are retiring after this Olympics, so it's kind of the last hurrah for them. Been fun to see TJ DeFalco, 14 kills, 28 attempts against Germany. Basically been our best outside hitter for the last 3 Olympics. And so they are really motivated. 2-0, kind of above where a lot of people thought they would be at this point. So real good chance to win their group here, which would be huge for them going into the elimination part of the tournament. So yeah, good, some really good performances so far from USA. On the indoor side, beach side, not necessarily so much, but we're still all in and have the ability to advance to the elimination round.
Even so Budinger, he's out there killing it. I haven't been able to tune in yet, so I'm glad you're informing me about all this.
Yes, men ranked 6th going in, and I will pull up the women's rankings here for you really quick. Women were ranked 6th going in, and China was 5th. So that was a big matchup there. Serbia 9th as well. So some good competition so far that we've had. On the women's side, Italy, Brazil, Poland, top 3 going in. Italy obviously has been performing very well. On the men's side, Poland, Italy, Japan, top 3 going in. So lots of work to be done there. Yes, Polish volleyball has been very, very extremely good in recent history.
So what would your prediction be? Are we gonna make it to the next round? And I
think both teams will make it for sure.
Indoors, you're saying?
Yes, both indoor teams should be able to make it to the elimination round. And then, it's just about execution. And it's, as we've seen in both women's matches so far, the margin of error is very, very slim. Or not error, but the margin of difference between the two teams. So it's really going to come down to small executable plays in the elimination round.
Well, let's jump to gymnastics. That's what I'm going to pick next, because we have to shout out Simone Biles, Spinny. We have to.
Yeah.
With the team gold, she became officially the most decorated American gymnast with 8 medals. And now today, she won the individual all-around for her 9th career medal, 6th gold, which is also the most golds ever for American gymnasts. Kevin Durant tweeted, and it sums it up perfectly, Goat Biles is her name. Let's just refer to her as Goat Biles.
Agreed. Both Biles and Suni Lee, only 2 American gymnasts in history to medal in 2 different Olympics in the all-around. Suni got the bronze. Suni got the bronze in the all-around as well. And Suni won the gold in 2020. Biles obviously gold in 2016 and then 2024. So cool performances by them. Did we see the Michaela Skinner shade in the Instagram post? That was awesome. Lazy, under-talented. world or gold medalists. Absolute dig at Michaela Skinner, who was cut from the Olympic team, or not cut, but didn't make the Olympic team. She said that the gymnasts other than Biles were under-talented and lazy. Two of the quotes she had. Biles quote unquoted that exact her quote, said untalented, lazy, gold medalists.
Gold
So
medalist.
really you can tell the level of receipts kept by Simone Biles is on the GOAT level as well with players like Brady and LeBron. We know the receipt keeping that those players do, and Biles is on that level of pettiness, which I absolutely am here for.
Oh, absolutely. So obviously, I don't really know what I'm watching when I'm watching gymnastics, but it is insane to watch these women, Simone Biles, and everyone for that matter, not even just the Team USA gymnasts. What they do is incredible. I love watching the beam. That I don't know how they're just like flipping in air and landing on a beam like it's nothing. Like the whole concept of all of this just blows my mind. Simone Biles running, jumping, doing two flips before landing. Like, how is any of this even humanly possible?
It's insane. Biles has
It's insane.
five moves, tricks, whatever you call them, named
Yeah.
after her that no one ever did before she literally invented them. And
Yeah.
now this Olympics was the first time the Biles in the floor routine. The first time somebody else actually completed it in competition was at this year's Olympics, which is crazy. So people are even working now to just complete or be able to accomplish the moves that she invented. Absolutely, just a different level of craziness.
Yeah. Goat Biles is what we call her now.
Facts.
Before we jump to basketball, though, do you want to comment on your goat in your headline?
The goatiest goat, Katie Ledecky, winning by
Wow.
10 seconds. 10
Yeah.
seconds.
There
No
was
one
no
was
one
even in the frame. It's just dumb. Like part of me feels bad for her. It's like she's gonna be winning Olympic golds when she's like 52 years old because no one
Yeah.
can swim the long races like her. Absolutely insane. Also got a third place finish in the I want to say the 200, or the 400, one of the shorter ones. She is still competing in as well at her age, which is just absolutely insane. I am not finding on my notes right now how many total medals she has. But we have talked about
Too many.
before the 1500-meter freestyle, how she has 35 of the top times in world history. All
Yeah.
35 of them straight are hers. So
Like,
absolute craziness in that race. Bronze in the 400-meter freestyle, and then the USA winning silver in the 4x200 freestyle. So absolutely crazy performances by her. The GOAT of GOATs in swimming, 1500 freestyle. No one's ever touching her. It's insane.
ever. Yeah. Shout out to the swimming team in general. Obviously, a lot of their events compared to the other um, sports are completed, which makes sense for this total here. But 20 of our 37 medals are from the swimming team. 4 of our 9 gold medals, 10 of our 15 silver medals. Like it's crazy what our swimmers, men and women, have been able to do so far. So shout out to them. Hopefully they're able to keep it up on their remaining events.
13, 13-time medalist for Ledecky, 8 career gold medals for
That's
her,
absurd.
which is crazy. Yeah, insane.
Michael Phelps and Katie Ledecky, the two goats. The two goats. That's all there is to it. Let's jump to basketball, though. Finish Olympic talk with basketball, obviously. Let's quickly mention that our 3-on-3 teams suck. I watched
What
both
the
their
heck
games.
is up with that?
We
What
suck.
kind of shot, mate? What kind of shot selection though? Especially the first
Oh,
women's game, like
oh
they
my
were
God.
all just humming it. Haley
What was
Van Lith is humming
Ryan
it.
Howard?
Ryan Howard
Ryan
was
Howard.
humming it.
It was driving me insane, Spinny. I didn't even. I get it's 3-on-3. You only have 12-second shot clock. You have to take any good look you get, but most of our shots weren't even good looks. It's
No.
that's why we only scored like what 12, 14 points or whatever it was in that first game. Like we barely even scored.
It was absolutely insane. Absolutely insanity how bad it was.
Now I will give the men a little more slack. They got to pick it up here. I think they were playing again today. Could be wrong, but in the first game they had to play freaking Serbia, who is apparently the number one ranked team in 3-on-3 and has been for a long time, years and years. So to have to play a team right away that good, obviously that's going to be pretty tough, especially for our whole team is just brand new to the Olympics. So obviously that's going to be tough.
Yeah,
We'll
and
jump.
this is go ahead, Bus.
No, go ahead.
And obviously, this is a sport that we have not been as experienced in as a country
Right.
overall, and there aren't as many like leagues like there are in other places, and the camaraderie between the teammates. You know, those other countries, those three or four have been playing together for so long in comparison to the players we're putting out there. Even if our talent level is more, but in 3-on-3, that cohesiveness and collective ability is huge, huge, huge.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to a podcast that Jim Fredette was on, and he was, trying to inform the listeners about the strategies in 3-on-3 and how important it is to be versatile. You need, big forwards that can guard multiple positions. They can switch. That's why when you're watching Serbia, it was so clear to me why they're so good. They're all like 6'7", 6'6", long, athletic dudes who can also shoot.
Yep.
So they have it all there. So yeah, it's if any of you hard as hardos haven't watched 3-on-3 basketball, go ahead and watch it. It's actually so fast paced. It's really fun to watch. It can be chaotic at times, but
There's definitely
just go
some
check it out.
chaotic moments.
Yeah, for sure. Women's basketball, we're obviously 2-0. No surprise there. We actually kind of struggled today. We ended up winning by 10 or 11 or so. Asia Wilson's doing her thing. Spanny, do we even have any concerns when it comes to our women's 5-on-5 team? Because I
No,
don't.
no, no. I
This is a
I would be flabbergasted, to
yeah.
quote a Stephen A. Smith word, if they did not win gold.
I mean,
I would be unmitigatedly
yeah.
flabbergasted if they
I
did
mean,
not win gold.
they've won how many straight Olympics? Diana Taurasi's going for her sixth gold medal. Like, that shouldn't even be possible. Six gold medals in basketball. Yeah.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah. Little struggles today, but I'm not worried, especially when we have Asia Wilson, who is so clearly the best player in the world. Like, there's
Oh
no one
yeah,
that's on her level.
she's ungodly.
Like, it was funny watching against whatever team we played in the first game. Everyone was so small on that team. And Asia
It,
just went straight to the rim every single time, just straight bully balled him. I'm like, ooh, this is a grown ass woman against some kids. That's what it looks like.
I think it was Japan. It was either Japan or
Japan.
China, but I want to say Japan. Um, Tallest person on their team was 6'1".
Yeah,
And
Asia's what, like
it,
6'6".
yeah, and then Brittany Griner, tallest person at that six
Yeah.
eight 6'9" range, watching her get guarded by someone that was 6'1" was very, very interesting to watch.
Shout out women. Keep it rolling. Let's get this thing done. Men, what are your vibes through these first two games? I'm kind of confused when it comes to rotations. Are we
Yeah,
strictly basing rotation on the opponent?
yeah,
That's
it
what it
seems
seems
like
like.
it. It seems like that's what Kerr's strategy is, which is fine to me. I
It's
mean, I
fine, yeah,
think
but
that I think that normally the team with the most talent, you just try to play your game and make other people adjust to you. And I really actually like that Kerr is implementing more of the quote unquote underdog strategy where you're trying to get the best matchups against your competition and play them the way they don't want to be played. And I think when you combine that with the talent level, there's really a chance for us to put the gold away here for the men.
yeah, that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. I want to mention the too small play. Spinny, have you noticed this? It's literally called too small. LeBron or Curry either shows the hand gesture or they yell
Yep.
out too small. It is just simply a pick and roll with Steph and LeBron, and it is the most unguardable play there is. You don't know what to do. If usually it's LeBron handling the ball, Curry's
Yep.
coming to set the screen. What is Curry's man going to do? He's going to stick to him because Curry's just going to pop out and get a wide open three if he doesn't. So his man stick to him. All Steph has to do is make some sort of marginal contact to LeBron's defender, and LeBron's going to have a wide open lane to the rim. Help comes in, wide open kick out to the corner. Big man steps up, wide open dump down to Embiid or AD or Bam. Like, it is literally the most unstoppable play there is. They can flip it. They can have Curry handling the ball and LeBron setting the screen. Then it's like, okay, LeBron's defender needs to jump. Well, then LeBron's just going to short roll and be this supercharged Draymond essentially and catch it at the free throw line and have all this room to do LeBron things. Oh my God, sometimes it's not that complicated. Sports, they
No.
really aren't.
But
Just a simple ball screen. That's all it is.
yep. And LeBron is, I am supremely confident saying this, the best person in the entire world that I want making a decision in the short roll scenario. There is
Exactly.
not a better player in that short
No.
roll scenario than him in the entire world, and I think he could be 55 and still have that
Jokic is
title.
the only one I'd listen to. The only argument I listen to is Jokic.
Yeah, true. But it's been absolutely fun to watch. I love that you picked that play out. That is such a good one.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. Some concern here, though, Spinny, of mine, stems from the fact against Serbia, we were tied 81-81 when Jokic was actually playing. When he was on the bench, we outscored them 29-3 when Jokic was on the bench.
They scored 3 points with Jokic on the bench.
Yes. So is this a cause of concern for Team USA that we're not really pulling away from a team that we should pull away even when Jokic's on the floor? Or is this more just show how unbelievably great Jokic is?
I think it's more unbelievably great Jokic is. And also,
Yeah,
when Jokic was on the floor, man touched the ball 17 times every single possession.
Yeah.
It was just give Jokic the ball, run a screen, shooter around him. Then he gives the ball to Jokic and sets a screen for the shooter. Then they give the ball back to Jokic, and there's another back cut with a guy coming around. It was just like Jokic going like this 1,000 times and then making a play if he had it. Or if there was a smaller defender taking him in the post. We even saw him take Embiid in the post a couple of times. But I also thought they should have used Bogdan more. Wait, no, it's the younger one. Not Bogdan, right?
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bojan. Yeah, Bojan. Yeah. I feel like they should have used him more in that scenario than the other random lefty floater guy that they use all the time.
No, it is Bogdan. You were right.
Okay.
Bojan's the older one. Sorry. When I said that, I was immediately confused. I was like, no, I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so,
either way.
I feel like if they would have used him in the action more, it even could have been more effective.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Overall vibes, though, you feeling good as we approach elimination? So am I. I think we're clear. It's clear that we're the front runner to win this. I do ultimately think it would take some sort of choke job by us to not win gold. Our talent level, it's just too unmatched. We're so far above everybody. And then you throw in the aspects of like Curry. This is his first and likely only Olympics. This is LeBron's last Olympics. This is probably KD's last Olympics. You got a lot of guys that are like really locked in to the moment and want to get this thing done. Not that other countries aren't, but I think when that attitude plus that talent level are both there, you're gonna have a tough time competing with that team. So let's keep this thing rolling.
Hot take, but I'm convinced that if the NBA was played international style, KD would have been the best player in the world for ever. Because he's unbelievable, man. That first game, he literally couldn't miss. Just unmissable. Also, though, little shameless plug. Karl-Anthony Towns for Anthony Edwards, because Anthony Edwards and KD playing together has been magical looking. I would love to see more of that.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. Also, quick shout out before we move on. Bam Adebayo, amazing second game. Really stepped up. Joel obviously didn't play due to the athletic wings that South Sudan has. They don't really have any bigs, so they kind of wanted to do more forwards for Team USA there. And Bam, he really stepped up that first half. He was going nuclear off the bench. So shout out to Bam. Shout out to everybody. Let's keep this thing rolling. Like my headline says, USA, USA, USA. All right, sorry. I had to do it 3 times.
Let's get it.
Let's move on to the MLB trade deadline. We're going to talk some moves that we think will be impactful. Uh, Not as many blockbusters. These last 2, 3 years, there's been a lot of blockbusters at the deadline, which
True.
is kind of abnormal for the MLB, but we
Yep.
kind of transitioned back to kind of just the regular deadline, in my opinion. And obviously, Spinny, your Minnesota Twins, as expected, as always, did absolutely nothing because we
Classic.
suck.
Yep.
Classic.
Expected that. A couple of big ones for me. Guardians getting Alex Cobb. I think that is a big sure up for the back end of their bullpen, which has been a little up and down as the season has gone on. And Cobb has not played at all this season, had hip surgery at the end of
Yeah,
last year, but was scheduled to make his first start right before he was traded. So he's pretty much ready to go.
he's ready.
Fresh
Yeah.
arm, no miles on it this year. I just think that is going to be a huge, huge thing for the Guardians, especially in the playoffs where bullpens become super, super important, obviously.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I had that written down, but also Lane Thomas shipped from the Nationals to the Guardians as well, gives them good outfield depth. We hate to shut out our division rival here, but they're making moves that actually will help them win, unlike the Twins. So classic there. Lane Thomas, though, he's putting up solid numbers on the Nationals, so I think he's going to transition really well and really easily to the Guardians. Obviously, there's the potential where he takes a little bit to figure out AL pitching. You see that a lot when guys switch leagues, so that could happen. But yeah, the Guardians out here making moves, that's for sure. An obvious one, two obvious ones. Let's just say it. Your big market, your rich get richer. Jack Flattery traded to the Dodgers. Obviously, they've had insane amount of injuries to their starting rotation
Insane.
this year and in previous years. That's just great to get more depth for them. And Jazz Chisholm, we've obviously seen how impactful that's been already in just this week, hitting home runs left and right. Playing third base, which is new for Jazz.
Yeah.
Typically a shortstop or outfielder, but they have zero third baseman on their team. So Yankees definitely needed to get Jazz at the deadline. So those were two impactful moves, and moves obviously you expected given the Dodgers and Yankees.
Yeah. Those are huge moves and have worked out already as well. Um, Kikuchi, acquired by the
Yes,
Astros.
I got that one too.
I think that was a great move as well. Astros, another team with an infinite amount of rotational injuries. So,
Yeah,
and he had been a little down on the Jays, but obviously the Jays are a dumpster fire currently. So, I like that move by them, and I think we could see some improvement for him, especially given the Astros lineup and how supportive
yeah.
that's been throughout this season. So I love that pickup for them.
Also, you say he was on the Mariners before the Blue
Or the
Jays, but he's
Mariners.
kind. No, no, no. He was just on the Blue Jays. You were right.
Oh,
He
okay.
started his career, I'm saying, on the
The
Mariners,
Mariners.
so
Yep.
he's already used to pitching in these ballparks. He's
True.
probably already pitched against some of these players many times, so like that's going to be an easy transition for him too. So that was another reason why I like that one. Uh, Warriors, man, they made so many dang moves at this deadline. Spinny, your Oriole squad is looking pretty good. I like it. They added Eloy Jimenez, Trevor Rogers, and Zach Eflin at the deadline. Obviously, it's good. It's always good to get another power hitter in Eloy. Obviously, question his health. Dude never seems to be able to stay healthy. But if he is, slide him right in with that already loaded lineup. He might even be your sixth or seventh batter. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty scary to have Eloy Jimenez at the back end of your lineup. Trevor Rogers, Zach Eflin, that's just rotation depth, but you need that when you're approaching the playoffs. Zach Eflin is someone who I actually think could be a key playoff starter for them. Trevor Rogers, I would anticipate, would transition more to a bullpen role by that time of the season. But either way, great arms to get in there for the Orioles, who are actually trying to do something here.
I like that. And my man Gunner has been absolutely
Yeah, you
freaking
should trade him to me,
ridiculous,
man.
man. Oh, yeah? You want
Yeah,
him? All right. Well, I
yeah,
need
trade him
first, second, and third for
to me.
22nd, 23rd, 24th. All right. Then we'll do
I'll
it.
give you no, I'll just give you Jackson Holiday. Come on now, we'll just switch Orioles.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, totally.
Do you have any other ones?
Nope. That's it for me.
I'll shout out one more. Randy Rosarena to the Mariners. He's
Hmm.
obviously been struggling this year. but
Classic.
maybe a new home can get him rolling. I mean, you see that a lot of times in sports, not even just MLB. Guys get traded and they start figuring things out. So
Plus,
maybe Randy,
playoff Randy
playoff
is
Randy's a thing for
Randy.
sure.
Randy becomes Mike Trout as soon as
Yeah,
October hits. So
yeah. So hopefully he can get going, which can also maybe get a spark in that offense as a whole, because the
yeah,
Mariners' offense as a whole has just been a dud all season. So they need to
facts.
get some runs producing, and I think Randy Rosarena could help with that if he's able to improve himself. So I like that one too. Like I said, not as busy of a trade deadline as past years. We didn't see any Juan Soto's get traded, but there was still some quality moves out there. That's for sure. Spinny, it's time, man. It is time for us to revisit our top 20 NBA players list. This is actually something that needs to be updated. So, Spinny, why don't we get into it? Hearts and Hartles, don't worry. We'll have a graphic pop up on the screen at the end in case you get lost. Let's start with 11 to 20.
Ooh, we're gonna start with 11, huh?
Well, you can start at 20 or
Interesting.
however you want to do it. I just want to
Oh,
start at the back end.
I
We'll
like
save the top
starting at
end for last.
11. It'll give away some surprises here. At 11 is
Okay.
my guy, Jaylen Brown for me. I have
Okay.
here at number 11. 12, Anthony Davis. A little bit of a edge for Brown there based on recent playoff performances. Jalen Brunson, 13. Tyrese Halliburton, 14. Devin Booker, 15. Donovan Mitchell, 16. Victor Wembanyama, 17. Kawhi, 18. Jimmy Butler, 19. And this one was so hard. I had about 75 players here for number 20, but I went with
Literally.
Jamal Murray for 20.
Okay. I like it. Let's before we should have said this before we even started, but before I give mine, let's just acknowledge the fact. I think you'll agree with me here that basically from well, for sure from 11 to like 30 is the same tier, basically. Like there's
I think from 8 to 30 is the same tier.
even that, and you could even almost go to 35. There's that many
Yeah.
talented players in the league nowadays. Just need to preface that. So shots, they don't hear names that I don't have on my
Yeah.
list. 11, Jalen Brunson. I think it's criminal that you have Jalen Brown above Jalen Brunson. I think that's criminal.
Ooh, you think that's criminal, huh? All right, I respect
29
that.
points a game, fourth in the NBA this year, and absolutely carried his squad. I don't know what
Yeah.
more you want him to do.
Yeah, man
Uh,
dropped like 7 35-point games in the playoffs too. You're right.
I don't remember you saying LeBron James.
Nope, I did not say LeBron James.
He's just not a top 20 player for you anymore.
You'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Anyways, Brunson's 11, LeBron's 12, Curry's 13, KD's 14. I kept all the old heads grouped together. I thought that was fair. Jalen Brown, 15. I don't actually disagree with you putting him all the way up to 11 because there was a time immediately after they won the championship where I thought he was basically 11th. So I'm good with that. Spida, 16. I think we have the same spot there. Ja, I think Ja's going to get back
Hmm.
into it this year. Obviously, that's more of a prediction base because he didn't play last
Yeah.
year. He doesn't deserve to be top 20 technically, but I think he's going to play with some edge and get back in there pretty easily. I'm giving it to Zion. He actually played a career high
Hmm.
70 games this year. I liked Zion from start to finish. I think they could have actually gave the Thunder a legit shot if he was healthy in that playoff
I
run.
agree with that.
Yeah. Then I'm going Hallie at 19. I'm a little lower on Hallie than you. And then Kawhi, number 20. I felt like he deserved to get tossed in there because he did play over 65 games. He did make second team All NBA. Obviously, he got hurt once again in the playoffs, but I think that 20th spot was respectful for him. Um, Before we transition to top 10, let's shout out some of these other guys that we're referencing outside of our top 20 that could easily be in there. Other old heads, I have Jimmy, PG, Dame, Kyrie Irving written down. They're kind of
Yep.
my old head category. Easily could be top 20 players. I don't know if they quite are anymore. Some good bigs. We got Sabonis, Cat, and Bam. They're kind of all the same tier to me. And some more young guards. Jamal Murray, like you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox, Trey Young. So none of those guys I put in my top 20, they're basically the same tier as all those players I just said, though. Let's be real.
Yeah. Did you
Is there
say
any others you can
Fox?
think of? I said Fox.
Okay, Fox and Zion were my two
Okay,
next players there. Like you said, the old head guards. Part of me had a hard time not putting Kyrie Irving in here after the playoff performances we
same,
saw last
same.
year. Um, but yeah, so you mentioned all the ones that I had
Yeah, I figured.
for that list.
All right, 10.
And LeBron
Start
James.
at 10.
LeBron James obviously is another one that I could have had on my top 20 list
So you
that
don't have him on your top
isn't
20.
this either. Number 10 for me, Kevin Durant. Number 9, Steph Curry. Number 8, LeBron James.
Okay.
Number 7, Joel Embiid. Number 6, SGA. Number 5, Anthony Edwards. Number 4, Jason Tatum. This 3 has been so hard for me. I went number 3, and this might be a hot ass take. Number 3, I have Luka Doncic. Number 2, Giannis. And number 1, Jokic. That's the top 10.
That's not as hot of a take as not having SGA in the top 5. That is
Yeah.
criminal.
4 through 6 are the same. Tatum, Ant, and SGA are the same.
Yeah. So yeah, let's comment on top 10 like we just did for the 11 through 20.
Give me your list first, though, buddy.
All right, fine. I wanted to make you wait.
No,
10.
no waiting.
10.
Come on.
10, Devin Booker.
Wow.
9. And I do not give a rat's ass that I have him at 9 already. That is Victor Wembanyama.
9?
9.
9?
I will never not have him in my top 10 ever again. 9? 9.
Parties and Hardos, roast the frick out of us
9.
for having the best player on a 12-win team at number 9. That is
He's a rookie.
Wild.
Let's not forget, this man averaged 21 and 11, 4 assists, and 5
But
stops.
9th? The 9th best player in the NBA?
21 and 11 with 4 assists and 5 stocks? Who's done that? There's no one that put up those numbers last year. Not a single player. He led the league in blocks as a rookie by far. It wasn't even close. I'm just saying,
wild.
man. Again, that's probably more of a prediction. But
Yeah.
I can't not have him in my top 10 anymore. We had talked on this pod about a realistic expectation, and I think we both said like 17 and 10 maybe with like 3 assists. Yeah. He already blew that like out of the water, and so I'm expecting like 26, 12, 4 assists, like 4 blocks.
26 and 12? You think he's going to go to 26 and 12? I can't believe I'm on the hating side of this.
21 and 10.6. So that's why I said 11. That's what he just averaged, Spinny. You don't think he can increase by 4 points per game and 1 rebound?
Man, I don't know, man.
1 rebound.
Maybe,
but 7-6.
That's crazy.
All right. I accept it. I don't care. 9th best player, Wemby. AD at 8. He had a terrific year. I don't know how he didn't even get more DPOY talk. That was kind of ludicrous to me because he was a monster last season. Embiid, 7. I kind of wanted to put Embiid closer to 10, if I'm being honest, but I couldn't hate that much.
Me too. He
was an MVP. I'll give him his flowers a little bit. Tatum I have at 6. That also feels disrespectful to me, but the reason for
one of Tatum, Ant, or SGA has to be at 6. One of the 3 of them.
Yeah. So I totally agree with you is that 4 through 6 is the same. So I have Tatum, I have Ant at 5, I have SGA at 4.
SGA, the top of those 3. Wow.
Yes. I mean, he just averaged 30 points a game on 50% shooting. So yes, absolutely SGA. Giannis, 3. I don't think that's a hot take for you to have Giannis at 2 still. Because what he does on the defensive side of the ball is infinitely times better than Luka on the defensive side of the ball. So you have to factor that in terms of best all-around players, right? So I don't think that's crazy, but I do have Giannis at 3, Luka at 2, Jokic at 1. So that rounds out my top 10. I do completely agree with you, though. Top 3 is its own tier. 4 through 6 is its own tier. And then basically from there, Joel Embiid might be on his own tier.
I
And then
think
from there,
Joel is in his
oh,
own tier just because of the bullshit playoff performances, and I just don't know
yeah,
where to put him.
exactly. So one through three, two, 4 through 6, 7, and then 8 through 35 is the same,
I
basically.
agree. It's insane the depth that we're talking about and the evenness that we're talking, the parity that we're talking about. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to point out one issue I actually have with my very own rankings, believe it or not.
Wow.
I can't get Jaylen Brown higher than 15 on my rankings. I just can't, in my head, think that he's better than LeBron or Curry, any of these guys I have in front of him right now. But I also don't think the gap between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is that much. So for
No.
me, I have him Jason at 6 and Jaylen at 15. Like, I think they're way closer than that, don't you?
Yes.
That's
Way closer
basically
than
your
that.
premise for why you had him at 11 then?
Even 4 to 11, the difference between Tatum and Brown seems too much.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just a weird thing because it's like I don't want to put Jalen in the top 10 because realistically, I don't think he's a top 10 player. But I also don't want to take Tatum out of the top 10 because I think Tatum's a top 10 player. So it's
and
like I don't get it.
Brown's consistent playoff performances have been the biggest reason the Celtics have been as successful as they have. Because
I
Tatum's
agree.
high highs have been higher than Brown's, but Tatum plays playoff basketball like this, so
Yeah.
you never freaking know what you're gonna get. Jaylen Brown plays playoff basketball like this, and it's just my favorite thing as a Celtics fan to watch is the consistency and the shot making, especially late from Jaylen Brown. So it's like, yes, the regular season numbers aren't on the level of a lot of these other guys, but at some point he won Finals MVP and was the most consistent player through the Celtics playoff run. So the world champs. So at some point,
Yeah.
I gotta give him some credit for that.
Yeah. No, for real. You're completely right. I just had to bring that point up because it's like
Yeah,
it's been eating at me ever since
yeah,
they won the championship. I've been trying. I knew we were going to do this at some point this summer, so I've been trying to nail down my top 20, and I can't figure out where to put them. It's crazy to me. But
I
like we've said time and time again, this league is so freaking deep and so freaking talented. I want to reiterate it one final time. These rankings will change literally every single day. That's how
yeah.
talented the league is right now.
It's wild. It's wild. These are so fun to do, though. I think for me, AD and Brunson wanting to move them up, but just not being able to. Like, I refuse to put Anthony Davis higher than LeBron James, which is
I
dumb
know.
because
I
he
felt
should be
criminal doing
higher.
that, man.
He
Yeah.
should be higher, but I
Right.
just can't do it personally. And Brunson should probably be higher as well, given what he did in the playoffs last year, leading that Knicks team and all that craziness. So,
Yeah, it's kind of
but
disrespectful for my Braun guy over here having him not in the top 10, but how it
yeah, I was
goes, I guess.
surprised about that. I thought 8, 9, 10 was perfect for Braun, Steph, and KD.
Yeah, it's is what it is. I agree though. They definitely have to be grouped together, those three,
Yeah.
for the most part. All right, you'll see our rankings on the screen now. I know it's kind of chaotic. We're everywhere with it, but it was so hard to think of the top 20, honestly. Just
I know.
40 guys that were in contention for this top 20 spot. So it was a lot to put together, but there it is. There's our ranking. Spinny, episode 109 is now concluded. Do you have a Q&A? Otherwise, Hearts and Hearts, we appreciate y'all for waiting 3 damn weeks for us to release another episode.
My Q&A for you. The
Ooh,
Philippines won their first gold medal of all time in this
shout out.
Olympics.
Let's go.
What sport was it in?
Oh, so it's more of a trivia question.
A little bit.
Philippines. What are they good at? I want to say it was in rowing.
Now I know man didn't listen to the Al Travis show this morning because Heidelin Diaz, first gold medal for the Olympics in power lifting.
Ooh.
280-pound, what's it called when you do from the floor to above your head?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of that right now? Oh my goodness. You start with the barbell on the
Clean?
floor, you lift it to clean. A 280-pound clean for Heidelin Diaz, first gold medal for the Philippines. Crazy.
That's actually, I love seeing stories like that. That's another reason why I love the Olympics. Is just
Facts.
these small countries. They come out of nowhere and they get a medal. It's just always fun to see. And then
It's
obviously
awesome.
the celebrations at the end
Yeah.
is really. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Facts.
All right, Hard as Hard. Once again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Episode 109, the USA episode. USA.
Hug those friends and family.
USA. USA.
Tune in.